And at long last, we are live! Ascension eSports Dragon League! We're finally getting into the first week of action, starting off with Super Saiyan 4 versus the Abusement Parks. So, name said kind of wrong. So, I am your caster, Decerux, followed by my co-caster, Southern Decadence, Dezdan. How you doing today, Brando?
Well, I'm doing pretty well. The League of Legends client, as always, is extremely loud, so I'll have to turn that down. But we apologize for the delay. The first week's always kind of a mess, but I'm ready to get into this. We do have to make note that one game is forfeit. This is a best of 3. Super Saiyan 4 is up 1, and yeah, we'll have to go from there.
I'll come back stronger.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they did have to forfeit. They did take a while to get their team together. But that being said, we are in the here and now. We are finally getting into the action.
Right.
We do see the Zac ban. That's pretty much... He's pretty much an instant ban right now. He just does everything really strong. That engage is not to be trifled with. And yeah,
End of the line.
Caitlyn obviously is the lane bully. She's really strong right now. Even with the changes with her and Runon's, they're a little bit different. But strangely enough, Gangplank and Graves banned on the side of the Abusement Park.
Playtime's over.
I'm gonna assume those are target bans.
And we do see a couple of other bans coming out.
Ignorant
along with the Ari, along with the Diana. We're going to see exactly what we're going to get in the first round of picks.
Yeah, the Diana, Gangplank, Graves, those are just, those are very specific bans. So yeah, these teams have done their research, I guess.
Yeah, so we see the Renekton
first pick.
Yeah, locked in first. Strong first pick to go with, though.
Strong, but it's kind of risky picking this early, but they just answered straight away. Picking that Poppy up, and Poppy can survive the lane against the harassment that Renekton does. She can deny the dashes in, and yeah, it's gonna be, I think it's okay for the Poppy. Renekton's going to be a stronger duelist, but I think the Poppy will be a little bit more useful in team fights, possibly.
So we're looking at the next set of picks coming in, picking the Gragas. Usually you would flex that Gragas, but they went to pick their top laner quite early. Maybe a little bit show of inexperience with the drafts. Not really utilizing, especially since you didn't need to pick your Poppy. At that moment, you know exactly what the top laner is picking.
Exactly, and there's still 4 more bans to come through, so you're going to be limiting what you could possibly pick even more coming up here soon.
So yeah, the Nunu picked up. We are going to see a Disco in this game. That should be fairly interesting. As well as the Orianna. I'm not seeing a lot of team synergy with the way they're going with this.
I'm trying to... The only thing I could see is putting the ball onto like Renekton. The big thing that screams for me on the side of Abusement Park is they have disengage of the gods right now. You got Poppy ult, you got Gragas ult. Oh man, you will not be near this team if they won't want you to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty good disengage, as well as some pretty good dive on in, as we do see the Echo picked up as well. Yeah, and the Gragas and Poppy, they all have good, pretty much, ability to get in there and try and force engages, as well as disengages.
Yep, and have to go through this second round of bans.
Yeah, we are seeing that some of the bans were forfeit. That's why they waited out for that ban to stop. At Ascension eSports, the rule is when you are missing bans, you can pretty much choose when to forfeit them. A rule of Bob Dole himself.
Yep.
So these last two bans are going to be throwaways. Nothing big to come of them. But now that opens up the bot lane for the Phoenix 96 as well as Chris Game Champ. What do you think they're going to draft with this comp?
Well, if this was us, if we were the steal the coaches for Phoenix, we'd probably stick Phoenix on something mildly utility. I'd look towards maybe an Ashe or even a Xayah, quite possibly.
Yeah, Xayah, really strong right now, has great, pretty much potential to 1v1 and does extremely well in team fights and is extremely safe. The Featherstorm allows Xayah to just jump up, be safe, you know, dodge whatever skill shot you need to dodge. And it puts out so many feathers that you pretty much guaranteed roots on whoever's engaging on you. So I think it would work pretty well in this comp.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you have the front line. Just pick something, kind of be safe in the back line and do its job. We'll, of course, have to see what they decide to go with here.
I'm going to see an Ashe.
And it is the Ashe.
Yeah, no surprise. The Phoenix 96 going with that Ashe. And it's something we know he's good at. I mean, we've coached this guy in the previous season. It's on Sharkbait Uha, he was one of the most consistent players that we had. So, and one of the main champs we put him on was Ashe. The only problem we had with him was that he just was very reluctant to use his ult. Yeah.
Oh. I'm already got some white flags being raised up here. I do not like the Kalista pick in low elo. It can work. Anything can work in low elo, but Kalista's such a mechanically intensive champion that I disagree with picking it if you're not super confident in playing it.
Yeah, it does take a lot of mechanics. It does take some pretty good timing with your stutter stepping, your orb walking, your what else do they call it? Attack spacing?
Auto spacing.
Auto spacing. All these different names we have for it.
Yeah. But I just think Kalista takes a little bit too much for this kind of elo bracket.
Absolutely. Same exact thing I feel about Ivern in this elo bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on that note, I feel like I know your answer already, but who do you think is going to win this and why?
Honestly, I like the Thresh here for the bot lane of Super Saiyan 4, but I'm a fan of Thresh in general. I like the Renekton, I like the Orianna. I think those three picks are very strong in themselves, but the overall comp that the Abusement Park has drafted, I think, is better. But I'm going to add in that caveat, Karma was pretty significantly nerfed, so I don't really like the Karma pick there.
So who are you going with then?
I'm just going to have to... I trust my boy Phoenix. I'm going to go with the Abusement Park.
And I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. The Abusement Park, I like their comp. Everything makes sense with what they're doing. They got the engage, they have the disengage, they have a well-drafted comp, a well-drafted poke comp, I might add, that has a lot of potential to just catch out Super Saiyan after Super Saiyan. It feels weird saying that. And yeah, on the side of the Super Saiyan 4s, they have not much that works that well together. I guess you could ball up the Renekton and get a slice and dice in there for the a pretty good shockwave. Nothing on the likes of Corin the Cat and Blastona that we saw before.
Yeah.
I mean, they have potential, but I just don't see it working out that well.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like I said, Thresh Kalista is a very, like, that duo, we've seen it in LCS recently. It can be extremely potent, and Hjarn and Wadid actually completely carried Roccat against Fnatic with this specific comp, and just I don't know that they're going to be able to play it up to an LCS caliber. And I'm very worried for the bot lane of Super Saiyan 4.
We're going to have to see how they do, but for those of you just joining us, this is Ascension eSports Dragon League. This is an LCS-style tournament with the regular season and playoffs for players in bronze through silver. If you're interested in joining Ascension eSports, we have divisions for all elos, including Elder, 4 gold through plat, as well as Phoenix, which is now our open league, as well as an in-house rank ladder. So please check out our Discord, check out our subreddit. We hope to see you here soon.
It never fails. Yeah, it never fails to make me chuckle.
Why?
Whenever you go through that, it's so well rehearsed.
I've done this so many times. Yeah. So on that note, though, this is Game Point, and it's kind of sad that we start off on Game Point.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, the Super Saiyan 4s unable. It wasn't Super Saiyan 4s. The Abusement Park unable to get their roster in a timely fashion.
It happens. It's week 1. Week 1 is always just a absolute mess, and nothing we can really do about it. Just kind of roll with the punches and go forward with what we have. This season's 9 weeks now, right?
Yeah. The season is now 9 weeks.
So, yeah.
Previously, we had best of 2s, 2 sets of best of 2s between 2 different teams. But now we're going with the long haul. We have the best of 3 format, and because of that, we can't do 2 sets. So we have to expand the season quite a bit. But on that note, it's easier for the players. They only have to play 1 set. They only have to prepare for 1 team. So it should make for some interesting matchups, especially now that we have the 10 ban system.
Yep.
There should be a lot of rehearsing going on. Kind of makes me wish I was coaching for this season now.
Yeah, there'll definitely be a lot more strategy involved. Nothing crazy Keystone-wise. I'm interested to see Grasp on Renekton. I guess it can work. It's not something I always typically see. I generally see Renektons run a lot of Fervor because you do auto attack so much Renekton. You don't think you would since it's very ability based, but the amount of auto attacks you actually get off on Renekton are surprising.
Yeah, so especially if you get the empowered. What's the name of the skill? His stun?
I know it, but
yeah, I'm not gonna remember till it's too late.
But yeah, until I see
the empowered version of it is multiple auto attacks.
I know Q's Cold the Meek. E is Slice and Dice.
Yeah.
W is man,
Ruthless Predator.
No.
Oh, so close so far. Name every single spell. I even know the ult. For some reason, I just didn't know the stun. But on that note, we are getting into game. It's Game Point already. Super Saiyan 4 versus the Abusement Park. Let us know in chat who you think is going to win. Let's get right into this.
Oh, man. Do see Darkblade being bound up by that Callista Spear.
Gotta love that.
Yeah. You're walking for an invade, and all of a sudden, oh no, I'm dead. Didn't that actually happen? Pretty sure that happened recently.
Not sure. I don't know. It's one of my least favorite things about Callista. I feel like that's one of the things they could just like remove. It's just there for the look.
Is the tether from Thresh to Callista at the very tip for Callista, is it green for you?
Yeah, it is.
That's so ugly. Inconsistent animations, Riot. Come on.
Oh man, judgmental Dezdan. Gonna have to take away that Southern Decadence title. Look at this.
I had to sit here for 45 minutes.
I love cats. Looking to do a cheeky invade, but gets caught out by Da Disease.
As Nunu, you always want to try to use your early game pressure that you do have, because Nunu can take those big camps very fast, but unfortunately he was spotted out and is unable to do so.
Yeah, and we always have the #1 thing we'd say about Nunu. His whole objective... Yeah. Well, Nunu talked about in a simple light is just make the enemy jungler as worthless as you are. In reality, though, it's not just that. Nunu does have some great control when it comes to the map. He's great at controlling the map. He's great at controlling objectives. He's great at soloing objectives. But in team fights...
Yeah, he actually has like the highest jungler win rate at like 55-56% right now. Fun fact.
The day I learned. Don't mess with the Yeti.
Don't make the Yeti angry.
So far, we don't see anything out of the ordinary happening. Do want to note that Odin Bear did go for the Dorn Shield start, so he's going to have less potions than Mr. Cuddles. And what a name, by the way. We're bound to see a lot of stain coming out of Mr. Cuddles. He's yet to pop those potions, though.
Yeah, that said, the Dorn Shield does still offer a significant amount of sustain, even though it was nerfed, I believe. Or it wasn't nerfed, they just made it so you can only buy one pot with it, like you used to be able to.
Oh, and here comes the level 3 out of Odin Bear, but he goes right through the minions. What the wisest of decisions there. We might see a gank coming out. We do notice that I Love Cat Girls is coming up. Odin Bear running away from this, gets an ice ball to the back of the head, and that's first blood picked up by Mr. Cuddles.
You cannot disrespect Renekton's damage early. That is the strongest, like level 3 is probably Renekton's strongest spike, and you just cannot disrespect that. That said, like you also said, he walked into minions and took a good chunk from that.
Yeah, got a little bit too close with that. We do see Darkblade Wolf trying to pull off some dank plays. Not really working out for him. Dank plays, yeah. Doing a little too close to the minion wave when he did that, though.
Yeah, as a player who does play a significant amount of Thresh, you want to try to make those flashy kind of trades, but a lot of times you just, in general, in low elo, you have to pay attention to the minions. Like, even we saw top. You have to pay attention to the minions.
Yeah. It's one of the most underrated parts of this game, really.
If really, yeah. Even at my elo, you still have a lot of people die and disrespect the minion damage.
So here we go. I Love Cat Girls bumps into Bear Ruler. They're trying to stop him from getting the body slam. A great stun to come out of the Odin Bear. I Love Cat Girls being able to run away. The flash is up. Odin Bear might be able to get this, but instead turns onto Mr. Cuddles. Mr. Cuddles dangerously low. Gets a great use of the stun, but it's not going to be enough. And here comes Cyronox. Cyronox trying to take out the Odin Bear. Did manage to pick up one-for-one exchange so far. I Love Cat Girls playing dangerously.
I actually think there was a point in that trade where the Bear Ruler should have just body slammed into either I Love Cat Girls or Mr. Cuddles there and gotten that Curse the Colossus prop, and that actually they probably would have gotten the kill, and he still would have been alive.
So now we're seeing Darkblade Wolf trying to force an engage here. Exhaust use on the Panda Boy. The Phoenix 96 gets really low, still trying to fight this out. Does pop the heal to stay alive.
Yeah, very close trade for both sides right now. That said, Super Saiyan 4 is off to a pretty significant gold lead here in this early game.
No, they're playing the early game quite well. And really, it's just so disrespectful. I hate the Nunu right now. The fact that he went in and pulled that off without dying is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah. And it wasn't necessarily anything that he did. It was more misplays, I think, from the Abusement part, really.
We see Mr. Cuddles really working that early game power that Renekton has. And yeah, it's immense. We talked about it. The level 3 Spike, he's one of the original lane bullies. Been around since Season 1, doing the same things he's been doing since Season 1.
Yeah, if there's anything you learn against Renekton, is if you ever want to learn how to play him, you need to know when to identify his spikes. And his spikes are as soon as the game starts.
Yeah. Usually you get all these champions like Lucian, they need that one item, Blade of the Rune King, little attack speed on a Vayne. Nah, Renekton just wants level 3.
Yep, that's all he needs. Phoenix actually quite healthy now, considering how low he was.
Working the most out of those pots and that Doran shield. We're going to see a little exchange come off using the Blast Plant possibly. There it is. They're going after I Love Cat Girls, but Cyronox is here. Cyronox does have level 6, so Shockwave is available. They flash over the wall. Teleport coming in from Odin. There's the Shockwave on Odin.
Why?
Odin falling so low. Gets that Courage of the Colossus, but still drops to Mr. Cuddles and Cyronox engaging.
There was no reason to teleport there at that low HP on a Poppy. He should have just shoved that lane in. That fight was pretty much disengaged from his team. I have no idea why he kept going in.
Yeah, that one. One of the words I say a little bit too often, but I can't help but to. It is just questionable.
Yeah, really, he should have just stayed top, shoved that lane in, denied a lot of CS from Mr. Cuddles. Mr. Cuddles was already there, so yeah, that was just a bad call.
Well, the question is, what can the Abusement Park do to stop this leading that they have? Because we're getting early in the game, and this lead is starting to grow. We're already getting to the 2K point. The pressure's on. I feel like a lot of this is going to start relying on Phoenix. He's one of the members who's farming well on his team. He has the most farm in the game currently. They got to start focusing on his lane.
Yeah, and he's going to get another wave here. So he's going to be about 20-ish CS up on this Callista. And if there's a player in this game that can turn around a game, it is Phoenix.
So we're going to see how this turns out. It's going to be a while. We got to get out of the laning phase. But more specifically, Bear Ruler needs to focus on that bot lane. It's not working at the top lane. It hasn't been going well, especially considering it's a Renekton. There's not much you can do to help out that Poppy. But we're about to see him try anyway. Slice and dice is down.
If he played it correctly, though, I think the Renekton could 2v1 them.
Here we go. The barrel used, stun right into the barrel, but wait a second, in the bot lane, Phoenix wants to take out Panda Boy, forces the flash out. Panda Boy solo drops him down, and now Odin Bear running away, and we saw it right there. Bear Ruler drops as well as Odin, and a great hook under the tower. Isn't going to be enough. One more tower shot should do it, but one more auto should do it. The Phoenix gets a double, but drops to Dark Blade, and that's not too bad of an exchange, but in the top lane, we called it. Don't focus on that top.
Yeah, I said Cuddles could 2v1, and he basically did. Cat Girls was only there for the slow for the most part there. This is a very scary Renekton at this point.
Yeah, and it's just, you have to focus on your strongest player right now. And it's the player that's doing the best overall in this game so far. For the Abusement Park, Bear Ruler being in that top lane is doing nothing. Odin doesn't pump out that much damage. You know who does? Mr. Cuddles. And he's more than willing to take trades, and he got backup from I Love Cat Girls as well. Just don't do it.
He's had backup all game so far from Cat Girls. Anytime that Odin goes aggressive there, Cat Girls has been there, and it's been pretty impressive so far to see this Nunu work out the way that it does. Rather.
Kind of opportunistic in a way, but also just the enemy's falling into his hands.
Yeah.
They're giving free gold in the top lane.
Yeah, at this point, if I'm the bear ruler, I see my bot lane's pretty strong at this point. Any efforts that I can to go aid them is going to have to be made. Like, your top side of your map's donezo. They're out of it. Odin Bear is just going to have to survive and get as much farm as he can. But your bot side still has a chance to play around that.
Yeah, the thing, he just needs to build armor. He just needs to play it safe. Get a ninja tabby. Get a sunfire cape. Just play it safe for the rest of that game. Allow the bear ruler to go into the other lanes that are actually doing okay. So yeah, this lead is already looking pretty massive early on. We're at the 4K point. And here comes a hook. Phoenix sidestepping it expertly, I might add.
I haven't seen too many hooks land so far. Darkblade's going to have to work on that as the season progresses if he is going to play this Thresh.
Well, the big thing to note is, you might tell him to work on it, but he's got the same score as Phoenix. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but that was kind of him getting a flay under a tower. And yeah, you're going to get a kill there. But
just let me have my point. No. Just let me have my point.
I'll go with it.
And here we go. I love cat girls. Looking to chase in to do a gank, but there's not much you can do when they're pushed in.
Yeah, that is kind of the downfall of Nunu. Your ganks can very much be lackluster, and you run in, you waddle out.
So now if we take a look at the mid lane, 40 CS up on the side of, what's his name? Cyronix? How do we say that?
Decerux.
Cyronix. We'll go with that.
Maybe think of hooked on phonics for whatever reason.
Yeah, and it shows you the power that Orianna can have in these melee matchups. And the one thing I gotta point out about Odin Bear is how easily Mr. Cuddles gets in there. His steadfast presence is always late.
They're late, and Cuddles can just kind of wait and let it expire, and then or just early and never the right moment. I understand it can be hard to time, but really got to work on it.
Right here, we should see a recall from the top laner, taking a moment to breathe. But the top side of the jungle pretty much belongs to Mr. Cuddles as he asserts dominance on that red buff. And this is where Odin Bear, I think, is making a mistake. I do not think he should contest this. This is pretty much free to Mr. Cuddles.
He can try to snipe it, but he needs to get out.
Mr. Cuddles looking to go in. I actually work out. Ash Arrow goes wide, but they do take out Mr. Cuddles. Good response from the team pays off.
Yep, and Odin Bear was there just long enough to kind of delay Mr. Cuddles. But team is getting some significant damage in the mid lane. Can they pick off this Orianna?
Ooh. The Ash Arrow being down, not likely.
Yeah, but you could have had the Gragas E flash with the ult. You could have been a team hero for your oh.
Could have been.
Could have, should have, would have.
Yep.
That said, we do have an Infernal up, so there's going to be some contesting around it, possibly. Do you try to contest with a Nunu being there?
Oh, that's the tough
Do you try
one.
to take it, rather, with a Nunu being alive?
That's very tough. You got to turn on the Nunu, or the Nunu wants to turn on them.
Uh-oh.
Down will go Bear Ruler to Cyronix, and now that puts it as a 4v5. Chrono Break is used. Doesn't get too much, but the Shockwave gets a lot. Odin Bear's
What a
gonna fall
shockwave.
next. And now, yeah, that's a free dragon. That is something you should not have contested.
Yep, you never contest with Nunu. That was a pretty great flash absolute zero. His Chris game goes down dependably, but it's pretty beautiful absolute zero from I Love Cat Girls. He actually got it onto the entire Abusement Park team, and it was very well done by him, and they pick up the Infernal.
So yeah, we see another turret fall 2-0 on the sides of the turret. We're gonna see one more drop as well, potentially. Yeah, that one's gonna fall. And the Super Saiyan 4s, they're looking pretty good right now.
Yeah. Berries, they just look strong. Nothing else to say other than that.
I mean, a lot of this just comes out to choice, and there's a stun. Chanted Crystal Arrow is out. Looks like they want to get onto Mr. Cuddles. Are they going to stun him up? No, instead, there's a little bit of confusion going on with who they're targeting, and that's going to give Mr. Cuddles an opportunity to start chomping down member after member, and that's going to be 2 down for the Abusement Park.
They did deny the Rift Herald, which I guess is what they were going for, but they lose 2 for it, and that's not good.
The focus fire was terrible. We saw Odenbear go straight for the Nunu, but everyone else went for Mr. Cuddles.
Yeah, you really got to work on your communication here in these, especially in this. In solo queue, yeah, communication's whatever, but this is a team-based thing, and really got to communicate who you're going to go in. You got to talk about your timers. You got to talk about lane assign. Like, you got to talk. Communication is key.
Yeah, really is. And there we go. That's looking not so good right now. Dezdan is trying to get into the parallel convergence, doesn't make it in time, and down goes Bear Ruler. There's the ultimate to get Mr. Cuddles out, but it's falling apart. We're almost at the 10K point.
I question why they even tried to save that tower with all those people there and all those minions there. Rough start for the Abusement Park.
Yeah, it's a rough start of the season indeed. It's just the coordination seems so off for them.
They do have subs, so that is one thing we can, and it's still week 1. There's plenty of time to grow. Don't freak out. Just week 1.
Honestly, I kind of felt like that was an opportunity right there, but a little bit dangerous. Decerux is there. And so far, a really rough game. And there's a hook, it lands flush, and that's gonna be a dead down disease, but no! Chrono Break is big, and they take out Mr. Cuddles! That's a huge pick for them. They get the Rue onto I Love Catgirls. That Absolute Zero is gonna do exactly that in damage, but the Shockwave mode as it takes down Phoenix, it takes down Chris Gamechamp. A great double kill, but overall it ends in 2 for 2.
For probably 90% of that fight, Callista wasn't even there.
That's scary. We see another hook land. Darkblade choosing not to go in on it, and all for the better. Yeah, and that's something I wanted to point out earlier, but I kind of forgot to. Mr. Cuddles has yet to really build defensive stats. He
doesn't have to.
But that's the
he
thing.
doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to in the sense that the Abusement Park don't know how to abuse that. There's times where they have opportunities where they can try and get him, but they have to do it as a team. They have to be calculated. And like in that last Rift Herald fight we saw, if they focused him, his health bar would have been chunking quite quickly.
Yeah, and just Abusement Park are being abused right now. What else can I say?
Yeah, I guess living up to the name.
This is certainly a very stompy beginning to the season.
And that's a Rift Herald from base, by the way.
Which lane is it gonna go? Mid, I guess. The worst possible
goes out. And here we go. We got a gank onto Mr. Cuddles. I don't think he's gonna cuddle his way out of this one. Uses a very awkward flash. Is gonna fall for it. And that's some breathing room for the Abusement Park.
His ult had about 3 or 4 seconds before it came up, I believe, there. Might have kept him alive just a little bit longer, but I don't really understand why he didn't just flash downwards. This is the most awkward Rift Herald I've ever seen.
It's actually a decent strategy to summon it down the lane and then try and do something first. Not working out that way right now.
Yeah, I guess they had to summon it, so they did, but could have had a little bit better choice there.
That being said, though, what the Abusement Park are doing right now, absolutely terrible. They took down the biggest threat on the side of the Super Saiyans. And
you can't even say that at this point, though.
Oh yeah, Decerux has been popping off quite a bit now. But still, that's a 4v5. You have to do something with the pressure you just relieved yourself, and instead they just walked back to their lanes, went farming.
I think it might be hard for them to do that, considering how much they use just to kill Mr. Cuddles. God, saying that name is, oof. Got this angry crocodile man named Mr. Cuddles.
Oh, that was not nice.
That hurt me. Oh, man.
That was rude.
What a rude dude.
Absolutely. So now Decerux, they need to do something to catch him. Oh, we see a hook over the wall. And look at that damage. Just the command attack dissonance does so much.
Now imagine Darkblade took that hook. And imagine Decerux put the ball onto Darkblade.
Ooh. Imagine that.
Teamwork. But I can't complain. Super Saiyan 4 have looked very solid so far. They just need to continue and end out the game.
Oh, and here we go. A fight between Mr. Cuddles and Odin Bear. But Odin Bear knows what to do. Skedaddles right on out of there.
Which he has come back a little bit. He's 3-6-2 compared to what he started out. And starting to get fairly tanky on this Poppy. Sunfire is not going to offer the most tank stats, but it's something.
It doesn't offer the most in terms of tank stats, and yeah, that damage was nasty. But it offers.
He would have killed Phoenix with a Shockwave.
It offers something. It offers something in terms of how to deal with the split push of Mr. Cuddles, because he's gonna go up there, shove that wave. It gives him a way to be able to shove the wave on an inefficient wave shover. And the helicopter times out. Just there for looks. What we need here is a body slam flash going on to Decerux and a beautiful explosive cast to follow it up. But even then, it's going to be rough because the flash is still up for Decerux.
Maybe into an Ash arrow.
Yeah.
There's so many options that they have, but they just need to pull them. That said, Barreler is so he cannot do any of the fancy stuff we were talking about. And that's another tower.
That's an opening too. The Phoenix gets caught out. Shockwave almost gets deleted, but there's an exhaust just in time. Still falls to Panda Boy. Double kill for Panda Boy, I might add. But Odin Bear is going to drop you. Should have just let that tower be on its own. Another hook to come out from Darkblade Wolf, but they don't follow it up that time.
That was a silly explosive cast.
And that was it. They tried to defend something that was going to die anyway. And they were missing their jungler, who had just recalled because of the They should have just said, give this up, it's not worth it.
And now they lose Baron.
Yeah, it's just snowballing out of control. Because they're not dictating the picks. Who is Super Saiyan 4? They're absolutely controlling the map, they're controlling what the Abusement Park do. And they shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that said, that was a very good hook from Darkblade there. Making me eat my own words a little bit from that early game. But Darkblade had a very good hook there, got Phoenix, got who they needed, and they got the kill. And that's pretty much the entire damage that the Abusement Park has. So, kill Phoenix, win the game.
Yeah, I mean, Disease isn't really doing much. Phoenix can do a lot, but the zone control that is presented by Decerux and the threat of the Shockwave is really just making it difficult for Phoenix to shine in this game. And like right there.
There's not a lot he can do.
Right there, you could have at least shot an arrow. You could have had some kind of coordination there. You could have had Bear Ruler coming over the wall, but they're just too afraid of this team. Cyronox was alone.
Yep. That can also be attributed to the lack of vision that they do have. So I can't 100% fault him for it, but yeah, it definitely should. At this point, though, you got to try something.
Yeah, they're just slowly getting melted down. In the end, they aren't losing their towers that quickly, but the bleeding is still massive. And we might see an engage come out. There's the flash over the wall. Looks like they're going for Darkblade. Darkblade getting caught out, uses the wall parallel convergence onto Darkblade. He's going to fall. Is it going to be to the Phoenix? No, a great ultimate comes out from Panda Boy to save Darkblade. And now Odin Bear is all by himself. That cracks open the base. Might crack open Odin Bear's skull if he doesn't get out of there fast enough. But the inhibitor will go down. They dedicated so much and got nothing for it.
Why are 4 people bot against a team with Bear? And they're just stopping recalls at this point. Don't know that disease is there. Oh, man. Disaster here for the Abusement Park. They've really got to take a look at this after and clean up a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say? It looks like a complete deconstruction on a macro level and on a micro level that's just outclassed. Outclassed in every aspect of it. Disease has done nothing with the Echo. The Phoenix has been zoned out time and time again. Darkblade's been landing hooks left and right. Absolute Zero going on to Phoenix. And with Phoenix, no one to protect him. He's going to go down. Oh, there's the explosive cast. Not going to be enough. Phoenix drops to a crit from Panda Boy. That's a double kill for Panda Boy. Another tower going down. That's going to be the game, Brother Brando.
It is, and that's going to be the series.
Yeah, with the forfeit of game 1, Shockwave misses. Fortunately, Abusement Park have a rough start to their week as they go 0-2 against the Super Saiyans. Yeah, and not much to say about that. We got a 29-minute game coming to a close. The Nexus falls. Super Saiyan 4 look like real contenders.
Yep, and very strong team coming out of the gate. That said, it was one game. It's not the best sample size, and like I said, there's week 1 is riddled with subs, so hopefully we'll start to see a more consistent kind of show of strength from these teams going forward out as the weeks progress. But that said, congratulations to Super Saiyan 4, their first victory.
And we are going to get to the damage charts, and yeah, that's a lot of damage coming out from the Orianna. Mr. Cuddles as well pretty much dominated the early game in terms of damage. And surprisingly enough, Odin did get the most damage on his team, but that was mostly due to these like kind of weak trades going back and forth with Mr. Cuddles.
And when you're always fighting and dying, you're still doing damage, just not necessarily in the right time. So, unfortunate.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't feel like it was anything special other than being outskilled and out-rotated and out-macroed.
The macro was heavily in favor of Super Saiyan 4. I cannot argue that in the slightest.
Yeah, and it was not what I was expecting whatsoever. You have a great draft coming from the Abusement Park, and they just did not utilize it.
I mean, nothing else to say to that. They had gotta change it up for next week.
Yeah, Bear Ruler just went top lane to a ship that was sinking and decided he wanted to drown with it. And that's what you got, a 064 Gragas.
And I really recommend him spending some time in the practice tool with the Gragas ults, because some of them were really bad. I'm sorry, but that's the whole entire point of that character, is that explosive cast, and they just didn't hit the mark. I'm being hypercritical because I want everybody to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough start, but it's only week 1, and all these teams have a long way to go before they get to playoffs, and that's a lot of time to improve. 9 weeks to get your improvement in. So this isn't the end for Abusement Park, and this isn't the end for the Super Saiyan Force. Both these teams have a long way to go, and that's what Dragon League is about.
Exactly. It's about the improvement, which is what we want. So it sounds like we're being hypercritical of these players, but we just pointing out obvious flaws and mistakes that they can work on and can improve and get better, and show maybe they can use those skills that they learn and take it to their solo queue games and hopefully get that shiny gold border by the end of the season.
And on that note of Dezdan's motivational talk, that's going to bring our coverage of Dragon League Week 1 to a close. I'm your caster, Decerux, followed by my co-caster, the philosophical, decadent Dezdan. And we hope you guys have a nice night. Take care.